Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a seriously fascinating, totally data-backed masterclass on skyrocketing your click-through rates. We're going to break down exactly how to transform those tiny little images that, let's be real, absolutely make or break a channel's success. But before we get totally lost in the technical weeds, I want you to take just a second and think about your own scrolling habits. Seriously, picture yourself swiping through your feed on a random Tuesday afternoon. What actually makes your thumb stop? Why do you impulsively click on one thing but completely ignore the next? Well, as you'll see, it's really not random at all. So check this out. The human brain can identify an image in something like 13 milliseconds. But on a platform like YouTube, viewers are processing your entire thumbnail in under 200 milliseconds. I mean, that is literally the blink of an eye. Those 200 milliseconds completely decide if someone watches your hard work or just scrolls right on past. The stakes for your thumbnail design have basically never been higher. So, to figure out how we actually win those 200 milliseconds, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The psychology of clicks. 2. Core composition and layout. 3. Typography and color rules. 4. Winning the shorts feed. And 5. Scaling with AI tools. Let's get right into it. Starting with Section 1. The psychology of clicks, and the science behind the scroll. When you look at the raw data, the contrast in performance is actually pretty wild. The platform average for click-through rate, or CTR, usually hovers somewhere between 2 and 5%. But a truly high-performing thumbnail, that hits 10% or more. And hitting that 10% mark is a massive deal, because you're signaling ultimate relevance to the algorithm, which pretty much forces the platform to push your content out to a much wider audience. Okay, so how do we actually hit that 10%? The data points us straight to specific psychological triggers that work like an absolute charm. First off, just throwing a human face in there boosts CTR by 35 to 50%. Make direct eye contact with the lens and you're tacking on another 25 to 35%. But here's the catch. It can't just be a deadpan stare. Showing high emotional intensity like shock or joy or pure confusion literally doubles the likelihood of a click. Why? It creates what's called a curiosity loop. When our brains see intense emotion, we are biologically hardwired to figure out why that person is reacting that way. It practically forces us to click and find out. Moving on to Section 2, Core Composition and Layout, Structuring for Success. Let's lay down a classic visual foundation first, the rule of thirds. Basically, just imagine a standard tic-tac-toe, 3x3 grid layered right over your image. If you place your main subjects exactly at the intersecting lines of this grid, it naturally attracts and balances the viewer's gaze. Put a subject's eyes in the top third of this grid, and you're tapping directly into how human beings naturally track visuals. It just instantly feels right to the eye. Now, here's a super actionable trick you can use, the squint test. Seriously, try this on your own channel right after this explainer. Pull up your page, step back from the monitor, and just squint your eyes at your thumbnails. If the main focal point isn't immediately obvious to you while squinting, your layout is way too cluttered. You are making the viewer work too hard. And remember, you only have 200 milliseconds to win them over. To guarantee you pass that squint test every single time, you gotta stick to the 3-element rule. Your entire layout should have a maximum of 3 distinct elements. We're talking one face, one key object, and short text. That's it. That's the whole shebang. If you try to jam your thumbnail full of extra emojis, giant arrows, and a bunch of secondary subjects, the data actually shows your CTR can plummet by 23%, so keep it clean. All right, Section 3, Typography and Color Rules. Let's talk about making your message pop. Now keep in mind, over 70% of watch time is happening on mobile devices right now, so making your text pop with crystal clear legibility is absolutely paramount. Think about the difference in phrasing here. A title like How to Fix Your Camera Settings is, well, it's wordy, it's pretty boring, and it completely gives away the premise. But text that just says, I was doing it all wrong? Now that is a curiosity-driven, 3-word hook. It teases you, it doesn't just explain things. In fact, keeping your on-screen text to fewer than 4 words can boost CTR by 30%. Let the actual video title do the heavy lifting of explaining the topic. Use the thumbnail text purely to bait the hook. So physically, what should this text look like? The rules for mobile typography are honestly pretty rigid. You want to use bold sans serif fonts. Think Impact, Beba Snowe, or Montserrat. Size-wise, your primary text needs to be massive, usually between 150 and 200 pixels. Also, make sure to keep the text 40 to 60 pixels away from the edges so it doesn't get completely covered up by the platform's video timestamps. Always add a 4 to 8 pixel outline or a drop shadow to make the letters jump off the background. And here is a huge pro tip. Keeping your font choices consistent across all your videos builds brand recognition, which can actually increase your overall CTR by up to 38% over time. Bottom line, readability beats creativity every single time. It is genuinely fascinating to see how color theory directly translates into measurable performance. High contrast color pairings literally act as a roadmap for the human eye. So, red and white, that yields a 30% CTR boost, making it absolutely perfect for urgent tutorials or breaking news. Yellow and black grabs a 28% engagement bump, which is exactly what you want for cautionary tales or big announcements. Orange and blue adds a solid 25% boost, ideal for tech reviews and business content. And even a combo like purple and yellow gives a 22% bump above the baseline, working wonders for more luxury or highly creative topics. You can use these exact pairings to force the viewer's focus exactly where you want it. All right, shifting gears to Section 4, winning the Shorts feed with the 2026 custom update. The absolute magic number you need to remember for Shorts is 1080 by 1920 pixels. This is the exact 9 by 16 vertical dimension you need. If you get lazy and try to just reuse a standard horizontal thumbnail for a vertical short, you're going to get some really awkward cropping or, even worse, those ugly black bars on the top and bottom. And trust me, that instantly signals low effort to anyone scrolling by. The good news is the platforms have made it ridiculously easy to handle this natively, right from your phone. Step 1, just tap Create in the app. Step 2, select Upload a video and hit Next. Step 3, right there on the details screen, tap the little pencil icon and hit Custom Thumbnail. Step 4, pick your 9 by 16 image and upload it. 4 super quick steps, but I promise the payoff is massive. So why does this one little technical hurdle matter so much? Because taking literally 10 extra seconds to upload a custom Shorts thumbnail can increase your click-through rates by 20 to 40%. See, while people are just aimlessly swiping through the main feed, these static thumbnails are exactly what they're seeing in YouTube search results and on your actual channel page. It is a huge, huge engagement bump that you just cannot afford to leave on the table. Finally, Section 5, Scaling with AI Tools. Let's look at the modern generation workflow. Okay, knowing all these psychological triggers and layout rules is great, but let's be honest, executing them manually from scratch for every single upload can get pretty exhausting. To avoid burnout, there are 2 primary AI workflows you really need to understand. The first is text to thumbnail. This is for when you don't have any base images at all, so you just let the AI generate the whole thing from scratch using a text prompt. But the second one, image compositing, this is where the real magic happens. This is when you take a high-quality photo of your own face, showing that strong emotion we talked about earlier, and you use AI to blend it seamlessly into a wild, high-contrast background. It lets you keep your personal brand consistency completely intact while letting the AI do all the heavy lifting on the layout and lighting. But to get a usable result out of these tools, you absolutely have to master the anatomy of a prompt. You can't just type, "make a cool image" and expect gold. First, define the subject clearly, like product unboxing. Next, specify the lighting. Use words like dramatic or professional studio lighting. Then, dictate the colors by asking for vibrant, high contrast. Fourth, plan the actual composition by explicitly telling the AI to leave empty space on the left for text. And finally, you always want to use negative prompts. Tell the AI exactly what to avoid, using words like blurry, cluttered, or extra text. Sticking to this formula guarantees the AI actually follows the masterclass rules we've been talking about. Honestly, everything we've covered today is summed up perfectly by this great quote from creator Thomas Frank. He said, "Thumbnail design is 80% marketing psychology and only 20% design skill." I love that. It really is not about being some world-class savant graphic designer. It's simply about understanding human behavior, sparking genuine curiosity, and presenting your hook as cleanly as possible. Which brings us to the end of today's explainer. And I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative question. What is your very next thumbnail going to look like? Are you just going to settle for some random, cluttered, auto-generated screenshot? Or are you going to use high contrast colors, strong human emotion, and that 3-element rule to completely command attention and win those 200 milliseconds? The science is right here, and the tools have never been better. The rest is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and I'll catch you next time.